Hello, my friends, relative esteemed colleagues. A question was directed my way about Buteyko breathing method. And of course, I have to check it up. And it is basically the same thing that I was explaining when I was talking about, or whenever I'm talking about asthma. Of course, asthma and stress, because we can get an asthma attack while we are exercising or if we are in a stress. Actually, every time we start breathing through mouth. And I mentioned the mechanism, how we can deflame mucosal tissue in nasal and lung passages. So this way, better oxygenation can be done. Now, this Buteyko method, where to check information about it best than on international official Buteyko clinic. They have their site. So here they explain that Buteyko breathing method is a breathing technique that aims to optimize breathing patterns for improved oxygen delivery through the body. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean that we have to breathe differently when we are doing different actions? It is same thing here like with diet. Oh, well, you gotta eat differently if you're in a different part of the world, and you have to eat differently, and if you are exercising or if you are just mental thing or whatever. Whenever we don't understand what's going on, but we see changes, we reach to science, because that's all we know. Not realizing that all the information given us through science, through indoctrination or schooling, is false. And then we try to fish our way out, being it salt, being it oxygenation, be it inflammation, pain, any kind of a disease. This is why our experts of science of medicine have absolutely no clue about what's going on, and their most common scientific approach is through statistics. So here also they mention statistics of this and this group of people, of many, were doing this breathing, and these people were not doing this breathing, and the group that did this breathing of Buteyko, they had improved oxygenation of the body. And of course, everybody repeats the same nonsense. Well, nonsense. It's not nonsense. It is true. You improve oxygenation. But they say that oxygen delivery is improved. Which way? Well, they don't say. So actually they claim that the more carbon dioxide you have in the blood, the easier it is for the body to deliver oxygen. How does that work? More carbon dioxide, which means higher pressure of dioxide, which means dioxide is going to be expelled or replaced. It will be replacing oxygen. Why do cells of cancer cell, why do they not absorb oxygen and have to work anaerobically? Because the pressure of carbon dioxide within such a cell is too high. So the pressure of oxygen, relative pressure, when it's delivered, is lower than the relative pressure of carbon dioxide in a cell. So there is no exchange of gases. the oxygen cannot enter, and such a cell is forced to work anaerobically. We'll try to find this explanation in science, and you will hit the wall. There is no explanation. Well, exactly the same thing is going to be the case in a body with oxygenation. Now, again, how does that work? Okay, so I agree. If someone is having problem with asthma or is having problem breathing when they are excited or when they are doing sports, well, obviously there is no oxygenation, correct oxygenation going on. We should be receiving more oxygen when we are more active, simply because we need more energy. And energy should be produced ketogenically from fat, and fat will not be able to offload hydrogen if it cannot replace it with oxygen. So this way, the fatty acid, when it loses the hydrogen, which hydrogen becomes liberated, and then the carbon that is left gets connected to oxygen, CO2, and then it needs to be replaced again with oxygen. Now, of course, when we are having sick body in the sick state, sick means not natural state, which is glucoholic, and we are all glucoholics because we are duped into eating plants. Then what happens is that body doesn't work correctly. Now, how come that some people, well, before we go into Buteyko method, it is normal that when you are doing work, your oxygen level increase and you will breathe deeply. Everybody has to deep breathe when they are doing some work or sports. Very often it happens, or definitely will happen, when brain is extremely active, and the most active is brain when we are in a fear or stress. We also have to hyperventilate. We do it. We breathe more because brain needs way more energy. And if it's taking the energy correctly from the fat, it needs oxygen, so it can replace the hydrogen, lost hydrogen. This is why we normally breathe faster. Every animal breathes fast when they're running. So it's normal for us. So you cannot do Buteyko method and keep running. It doesn't work. So it does not provide more oxygen. It does not create oxygenation the way we don't think. We just repeat what we are being told, because we think we would know right away that something is fishy here. So what actually happens? So why do people with problematic health, this is not for everybody. To me, Buteyko method means absolutely nothing unless I have a stuffy nose. Then I use it, but I don't call it Buteyko. I basically call it carbon dioxide accumulation, increasing carbon dioxide. Now, what nervous system controls involuntary movement, which means breathing in this case? Well, it's vagus nerve. So if we have a better oxygenation of organs that are stimulated with vagus nerve, well, it means that vagus nerve is doing work, so it's benefiting vagus nerve. It's not benefiting. It's a mechanism, it's a program and sensors, and program is geared when sensors sense information that there is higher accumulation of carbon dioxide than it should be, then program switches into faster respiration. But how come that people that do not have asthma can breathe heavily, even through the mouth, and they don't wheeze? They don't have closing of alveoles, which is characteristic for asthmatic. And same here with the stress. How come that many people can be stressed and they breathe normally? But people that have problem with asthma, problem with breathing, when they are stressed, they have asthma attack. They have restriction in breathing. Well, the thing is in mucosal tissue, because mucosal tissue covers respiratory tract, from sinuses to lungs, and then digestive tract, of course. So, we know we get stuffy nose. But when you have and you have difficulty breathing, and then you are snoring. So, how can we prevent one and the other? And people with asthma, as soon as they start running, as soon as they start doing something, even being hit by stress, well, they start having difficulty with breathing. Now, why? What is happening? Think of body as a robot. Don't think about, well, vagus nerve and this system and that system and this gland and this hormone. Forget about that nonsense. This is all body's adjustment to current situation. What are the triggers? Well, I mentioned many times, when body is dehydrated, it is going to restrict the loss of plasma. So we will urinate less, and urine will be darker because it will sit there longer, accumulating dirt before body will release it, just to preserve. This is a programmed thing to conserve plasma. We will sweat less. We will not even produce saliva. We get constipated. It's all when body is in need of plasma, when it doesn't have enough of it. When it comes to respiratory tract, when the cells of lungs and sinuses are dehydrated, what happens? Every time body starts wasting more water, in this case, than necessary, mechanism will go in action to start restricting it. So it cannot waste this water. It will serve as a signal. And everybody who is asthmatic is dehydrated on a cellular level in lungs and in respiratory tract. So what happens? When you breathe through the nose, there is a regulation going on. You are going to be reabsorbing humidity. You will not allow humidity to go out, and this is why sometimes you have like a drop of a liquid, you call it, well, snot. It's not snot, it's mucus coming down when you are breathing. Why? Because they say condensation, but it's not only condensation. It is because the nose is created in such a way that mucosal tissue tries to reabsorb all the moisture, not allowing it to go out. So if you take a mirror, or let's say cold mirror, and you exhale through nose on the mirror, there will be little film of humidity. Little drops will start collecting. So yeah, Same like urination, you cannot hold on all the minerals. Exhaling through nose, you cannot hold all the moisture. But if you do the same thing, exhaling but through mouth, you will see maybe 4 or 5 times more droplets of water. It will actually all get foggy immediately because you don't have this mechanism in the mouth. What comes from lungs through the mouth doesn't save any humidity. So whenever you are breathing through mouth, you are wasting a lot of vapor, a lot of water. And if you are low on blood plasma and your body wants to conserve water, well, it is not going to be happy with you breathing through the mouth, but even breathing through the nose. Because if you are dehydrated and you are breathing through the nose, the mucosal tissue, it is going to basically swell. And it is going to try to trap more of the vapor. It is going to expand and try trapping every drop of vapor that is in your breath. In the mouth, this doesn't happen. So when you exhale, you are wasting a lot of humidity. Through the nose, more there is a need for plasma, especially dehydrated cells, the more the mucosal tissue in the sinuses and in the nose cavity will swell, trapping the moisture. But at the same time, it gives us difficulty breathing. So if you calm down, you need less oxygen. So you can breathe shallow. And if you can breathe shallow, then it is enough air passes through the nose. So you don't have to breathe through the mouth. As soon as you breathe through the nose, your alveoli in lungs and also nasal passages, they are going to be less concerned about wasting of humidity. Now, what triggers the system, the vagus nerve, to start deflaming this mucosal tissue and your alveoli in the heart, in the lungs? Increased level of carbon dioxide. Because the trigger for breathing is not low level of oxygen. It is high concentration of carbon dioxide. The more carbon dioxide you have in the blood, the sensor is giving the impulse, breathe, 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 breathe. Not lack of oxygen. The oxygen can be stuck into 70%, still plenty of oxygen. But your body will be crying for breathing because the carbon dioxide is signaling, wow, too much carbon dioxide. Now what happens? Since all the mucous tissue on the lungs and also in the sinuses and nasal passages is inflamed when it's trapping the humidity, but at the same time it's preventing oxygenation, well, the mechanism now triggers, the sensor triggers, well, high carbon dioxide, we need open passages, we need more oxygen. So as soon as carbon dioxide level increase, well, the triggering mechanism starts triggering the vagus nerves. Okay, do something here, open the passages, deflame the tissue, deflame the lung. And alveoli opened, nasal passages start opening. Now, how do you create increased carbon dioxide? Stop breathing. So what I suggested, And I did it on many people and it works like a charm. Since we have to build up the carbon dioxide, which means we cannot exhale. You can inhale, but you cannot exhale. So what we should do when we feel that we are getting hit by an episode of difficulty in breathing, asthma, we should first calm down, sit, so you don't move, so there is a less need for oxygen. And in that state, take very short breath and hold it. And as you need more oxygen, don't exhale. Just take another sip, little sip, just to get that little, so you're signaling that you are actually taking a breath. And you will see you can hold the breath again. And when you need more oxygen, take another sip of air, preferably through nose. But you can do it even through mouth, but preferably through nose. If you can't, do it through mouth. And keep building up carbon dioxide. And do it as long as you can inhale, because at one point there is no more you can inhale. Now, when you cannot inhale anymore, then try through the nose, not through the mouth, but through the nose, exhale slowly. If you can't, if you are still stuck, congested, exhale through the mouth, but not completely. Just less than halfway. And start again, slowly sucking on the air. And you will feel that your nasal passages are opening. They have to open because the body is not going to die because of this stuff. So eventually the nasal passages will open. Usually it is pretty fast, and the same is with the lung alveoli start opening up and wheezing stops. And don't exhale all the way. Keep the carbon dioxide there and just take little sips of the air as necessary just to keep the oxygen coming, and then slowly start shallow breathing through the nose. And you will see it works like a charm. Very often when we have destroyed ourselves using the inhalers, then the body has a difficulty because it is used on the inhaler. So it stops regulating. So it is more difficult to achieve this. This is why we should not be using inhalers, but learn how to breathe. Now you can call it anyway. You want to call it Buteyko method, call it Buteyko method. It's a restrictive breathing. That's what it is. Now, does that help deliver more oxygen to the brain? Not at all. This is not true. It helps oxygenating blood because you open passages. So you are actually taking more oxygen into the blood. You are not having bigger and bigger load of carbon dioxide and miraculously you get oxygenated brain. This is nonsense. You don't know what you're talking about. It is all about controlling inflammation, in this case, of mucosal tissue in the nose and in air passages, being it sinuses, being it lungs. And you do it by allowing increased pressure of carbon dioxide. This doesn't help physical delivery of the oxygen, as many claim that what's going on. It opens the passages so that oxygen can flow into the lungs and oxygenation can be done. That's how it works. And you have all kinds of expertise and expert talking about stuff that they clearly don't understand. Because it's very simple. And it is not method to heal you. It is kind of a medicinal approach. You are using carbon dioxide, which basically acidifies your body. You don't really want it concentrated in your body, but you do it temporarily so you can open nasal and bronchial passages, so the air flow is better and better oxygenation of the blood can take place. And then, of course, more oxygenated blood, better oxygen delivery. This is 1 + 1 = 2. So that's how this stuff works. There is no mystery about it. And it is a very effective method. Some people say, well, it doesn't work for me. Well, it's not easy method when you start, because forcing yourself not to breathe is not so simple. And also when you are sleeping and you, let's say, are snoring, why you're snoring? Because the soft palate is dehydrated. When it's dehydrated, loses tension and becomes loose. So you have a loose palate, and then you're breathing through nose or through mouth. So, and it vibrates. You have to breathe through nose. And if you say, well, I can't because my passages are closed, well, do this method and practice it. And it works better if you sleep on one side of the body, so left or right side. You just turn around and sleep sideways. And usually one nasal passage will open, the other one will not open that well. And as you turn to the other side, again, you cannot breathe until you do this type of a breathing, holding the breath, allowing buildup of carbon dioxide, and then it will open both passages, and then one of them will slowly close when you start breathing through nose normally, and the other one will stay open. It's conscious work. You are actually taking over the system and controlling, consciously controlling your breathing pattern. But, you know, here they claim, oh, well, certain action, you should breathe slow, have shallow breathing, this is good for you. Shallow breathing is not good for us. It doesn't oxygenate well. This is why it's good to do exercising. So you take a deep breath, you are forced to breathe deeply. And there are breathing exercises with the deep breathing, so you hyper-oxygenate the body. This is what you have to do. But these are, this kind of a restrictive breathing is just to work on a symptom. It's symptomatic benefit to allow your body to become oxygenated when it really is saving liquid. And anytime you make a mistake and you start breathing through mouth, you very quickly go into asthmatic constriction and jammed nose. If you force yourself to breathe through the nose, then if you are low on plasma, body needs more plasma, and inflammation starts occurring, you will have constant problem with the runny nose. Well, this is a sign that your body actually needs to cleanse and needs more plasma. When you have a child always with runny nose, this child needs to detoxify and hydrate. And then things will be resolved. But no scientific 007 agent know anything. 007 agent knows anything about this. They have license to kill. They don't care what happens. They get their money and adios. Well, some do, some don't, but the thing is that the schooling gives us the wrong information, and we cannot use it to resolve or solve problems, because simply body doesn't work. Things, even when they appear to happen the way we are being told, it is not the biochemical process that we are being told that occurs. It is simply a process of physics, action, reaction, and of course programming. So there is almost nothing truthful about this science behind Buteyko method of breathing, because they cannot even explain it, because they don't understand it. So here is the explanation, and this is how things work. Thank you for listening, and until next time, God bless us all, and namaste.